Hello friends, my name is Marina and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. I am back again today with an update about a pattern that I already gushed about on this channel. These are the Sprocket socks, and if they look familiar, they should. I made them I made them and discussed them in a video maybe like 2-ish months ago. These are made out of a bag of Taylor Swift mini skeins by Sinful Yarns. And I loved knitting these socks so much that I gave myself some minor tendinitis. If you are interested in learning more about that, I will link a video up in the cards for you where I discuss both these socks and the minor injury I gave myself. But since then, I have updated my knitting style, so that's good. And I have a brace for each hand, so I am always prepared to take care of any injury before it progresses to the point of actual pain. So anyway, that's good. But actually I loved knitting these socks so much that I kind of decided I wanted to make them again. I ended up casting on a different pair of colorwork socks, which I'm enjoying. They didn't suck me in quite as much as these, which is fine. Like these, I gave myself an injury and knit a sock in 3 days. So it's okay that not every pattern really gets me going that much. But because I love these so much, I think I want to make a similar pattern. And I know I just went through all of my whips and culled a whole bunch of them because I have too many. And I'm almost done with another one. And when that one's finished, the ribbit camisole, I'm gonna cast on this Sprocket sweater. So a little bit of information about that sweater. It's a circular yoke colorwork sweater. So it has this sprocket pattern in the yoke area. There are 5 sprocket stripes plus the main color at the collar and below, but there's no more motifs in the pattern. The body of the sweater is knit plain, as are the sleeves. I was a little bit hesitant to knit this pattern for a couple of reasons. First reason is that it's fingering weight yarn, just like the socks, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do that. There's a lot of area that I have to cover on my body as somebody who is busty and large. Again, I have a 64-inch bust, so it's hard to even find patterns that come up in my size. But anyway, I was a little bit hesitant to cast on this pattern because it has fingering weight yarn, and I don't really want to knit a whole sweater in fingering weight yarn unless I absolutely love the yarn. So that was kind of a prerequisite for any yarn I got for this project or used for this project. So I had to absolutely love it. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to that in a minute. In addition, I didn't really have anything in my stash that was going to work for this project. I mostly have hand spun in my stash. I have a couple sweater quantities, but only one fingering weight, and that's already a project that I have set aside. So I didn't have anything in my stash. I don't really make fingering weight hand spun with enough plies to think it would be really nice and durable for a sweater. So that was kind of off the table. I couldn't spin it. So I decided I was going to have to buy some. But I didn't really want to buy a whole sweater of fingering weight yarn because that's pretty expensive. So what I did was I sat and I waited and I kind of percolated on this idea for a while. And eventually it rolled around to the end of May, which is my birth month, and I got some birthday money, which I was very fortunate and grateful for. And decided that that would probably end up being dedicated towards a Sprocket sweater. But still hadn't picked out a dyer, still hadn't picked out yarn, so it was still just an idea and a bunch of money that or not a bunch, but an amount of money that I had kind of squirreled away for this project. So next, we're going to kind of talk about the dyer I ended up choosing. So the dyer I chose was On the Round, and I've been a fan of hers for quite a while. I think like 10 years ago, she was on Etsy, and I found her on Etsy because she made these rainbow tweed bats, and I was in love with them. It was just like a white or black base with rainbow silk noil, which is actually a product that I make now in my Etsy shop in Rolag form, with some modifications, obviously. But so I'd followed her for a while. I had bought bats from her in the past, which is a form of spinning fiber. And I'd also bought a whole sweater quantity and knit a sweater, which is now too small for me. It was too small for me when I made it. I didn't understand ease, but regardless, we can talk about that on a different day. But I knew I really loved her yarn. I knew I really loved her colorways, and I kind of decided at a certain point that I wanted to, well, actually, back up a minute. And then I saw on her Instagram that she had this collection of colorways called the Spring Showers collection, which I fell in love with. It was like blues and purples, a little bit of like some creamy colors, and just beautiful, beautiful colors. So I fell in love with that. And kind of decided that those were the colors that I wanted to make the Sprocket sweater out of. But I kind of sat and waited a little bit longer, thought about it a little bit longer, and eventually this month of June, she came out with a colorway for her color of the month color, I guess. She dyes up a specific color, and it's only available for the month that it's dyed in, and then it's no longer available. And it coordinated really, really well with the Spring Showers collection. So I messaged her on Instagram. She sent me some pictures back and forth of the yarn itself and some swatches, which was really, really helpful, and I really appreciated. One other thing that I decided I wanted to do in terms of the pattern was that in addition to having the color work section in the yoke, I also think I want to put it in the sleeves. So just have like 5 stripes of color in the Sprocket colorway, get to a good width here and then just knit straight and then do a cuff. But that's going to require a little bit more yardage, and the yardage that the pattern calls for is already 2 sets of mini skeins for my size because, as I have mentioned, I'm a large person. So because of that, I decided that I want to just go ahead and buy full skeins. I'd probably end up with some leftover yarn, which, the worst thing in the world, especially with beautiful blues and purple colors. But I decided that I wanted to do full skeins of all of those coordinating colors, just for simplicity and to make sure I had enough yardage of everything. So I guess it's time to show you the yarn I got, because I ordered it and it arrived today. So first of all, I'm going to show you the color of the month, which is called Lupine. I'm just going to slip off the tag so you can really see the skein. But it's these like deep purples and like lighter, creamier purples with little shots of pink throughout. So this is going to be my main color. This is called Lupine. I got all of these on her Nimble sock base because I think those will be nice for this pattern, assuming I get gauge. We won't talk about that yet. Hopefully I get gauge. I guess I can always adjust my needle size, but I don't want to go down a needle size. Anyway, that's my main color. I freaking love it. It's variegated enough that I think it's going to be really interesting to knit. But I think I've planned colors out well enough that I'm going to have enough contrast between my stripes. So let's look at my stripey colors. So we've got this one, which is a nice, oh, there we go. A nice white with like speckles of pretty much every color in there. Like I see blues and purples and yellows, a little bit of pink, maybe some green. So that's my first color. And then I have After Midnight, which I considered doing for my main color, but ended up deciding on this lupine instead. And then this is Lilac, which is like a little bit pinkier version of this color on the end of the lupine. I'm gonna run out of hands in a minute. And then I have these two light colors, like a light purple and a light blue, called Purple Rain and Robin's Egg. So okay, friends, sorry about that. We just had a package delivered, which rang the doorbell and interrupted my filming, but that is okay. It's not the end of the world. So anyway, oh geez, this is a lot. Okay. So these are the colors that I have gone with. I haven't fully decided on what order I'm doing, but I think having this nice dark one and this medium one and then this medium one, which will be on the top and bottom, and then these three kind of lighter shades should work out well. Again, I talked with the Dyer on Instagram and she shared swatch pictures with me, and I was like able to put everything in grayscale and figure out enough contrast and all that. So I think I have a plan and I am very excited. I got another skein. Hang on, we'll put all these down. Just plop them in there. Oh, After Midnight fell on the ground, but that's okay. I also got this skein of Northern Lights, which is just my favorite colors. Blues and purples, a little bit of pinky purple and a little bit of green. And that just it's my favorite colors. Like obviously I love blues and purples, and that little bit of green just ties it all together and makes it mermaid colors, which are my favorite colors. And also Northern Lights colors. So this was on her website and I just couldn't resist. So I got a skein of that too, probably for a pair of socks. It's going to be really good for a pair of socks. I've seen this knit up as socks and it's very pretty. So that is probably going to be the plan for this. But everything else, which was the 5 skeins of the contrast colors plus 8 skeins of the main color, 8 skeins of the main color, should be enough. Again, I always make sure I have extra skeins of a main color because I'm a very tall person and sweater patterns generally don't accommodate for a very tall person's body size. So I always get at least one extra skein. I think I got an extra skein and a half for this pattern. So hopefully that will be plenty for my tall body to have a Sprocket sweater, which will keep me cozy and warm and very purple, which I'm excited about. I love purple. It's one of my favorite colors alongside blue, but I mean, can you really pick? They're all so pretty. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. I guess I'll hold everything up. Is that a good idea? I'll try my best to hold everything up. I already dropped a skein on the ground. Okay. But this is everything minus one skein. So I guess this is with this guy over here who's not part of the sweater. this is how much yarn is going to be on my body. So it's pretty exciting. It smells really good. I don't know what exactly it smells like, but it smells like fresh yarn, and it just makes me really happy. So I think that's going to be it for today, folks. I hope that you have a fabulous day. I hope that you get some crafting in, however you do your crafting. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed hearing about me kind of rambling about a project that's been on my mind for a while, and see lots and lots of pretty yarn. So that's it for now. Bye, friends.